Hello, it's me, Gage, and this is my first time I'm going to be making this video, probably the only one, but this is a theory on the new God of War game coming out that takes place in Nordic mythology. Now then, this theory is that Kratos is being used to start Ragnarok, and is being used for certain creatures' personal gains. I will explain. First of is that the Midgard serpent, or the world serpent, or Jormungand, I think that's how it's pronounced. I could be very wrong, and I'm sorry if I am. But it wants to help Kratos. And from what I know, the Midgard serpent is not a good creature, as it is often causes massive amounts of destruction and sinks many ships. Now, in the story of Ragnarok, yes, since it's Nordic, we have to talk about Ragnarok. The Midgard serpent, at the end of it, fights Thor, and they both kill each other. Thor kills him with his hammer, but in his dying moments, he spits up a ton of poison, which kills Thor in 9 steps. So the Midgard serpent really does not like Thor. The Midgard serpent is also a child of Loki, the trickster god, who in Nordic mythology isn't too much of a good guy himself, as the gods really do not like him, as he is actually tortured up until Ragnarok, where Loki does die there as well, in a massive bloody fight. And the Midgard serpent also has a brother called Fenrir, who is another son of Loki. And Fenrir is the thing that's going to be a main focus here. The beginning part was me talking about how Jormungand wants Kratos to help him, probably so that he can kill Thor in Ragnarok and not die himself, as the gods and creatures all know about Ragnarok. Most of them know about the stories about what has to happen, as I will mention later to fully explain it, with the gods Vidar and Heti, I think that's how you say it, or Heyete, and Skuld. But anyway, let's get on to Fenrir. In Nordic mythology, ignore the bottom thing that doesn't want to go away for some reason. In Nordic mythology, Fenrir is a wolf who is destined to devour the earth, and is another child of Loki, so not many people trust Fenrir. However, Fenrir wants to be trusted, as he wants to be accepted by the gods. But again, the gods do not like Fenrir due to the prophecy, as they trust those heavily by humans. So, what they do is they try to trick Fenrir by making it seem like he's earning their trust. So they chain him to a boulder as a test of strength for Fenrir, and Fenrir accepts to prove his strength. No matter how many chains they put on him, he always breaks free. So the Nordic gods go to the dwarves, who've made Mjolnir and many of the other god tools, to make a special chain for Fenrir to hold him. It's extremely thin and light, but it's the strongest chain ever that nothing can break it. When they show this chain to Fenrir, he gets very cautious and doesn't trust it, because he knows that the other gods don't fully trust him. So, in order for them to use this chain on Fenrir, Fenrir makes a deal that one of the gods must put their hand in his mouth and be allowed to be chained up. And if they are lying to him, he will bite their hand off. Now, none of the gods want to put their hand in his mouth, because they don't want to lose it, except for one god who is willing to step up to the plate. Tyr, I think that's how you say his name. And Tyr, sorry, out of breath, is the god of war in Norse mythology. So I heavily believe that we will also see Tyr in God of War, with Kratos, as they are both the god of war. Now, of course, once Fenrir realizes that he cannot break the chain, he bites off Tyr's hand, leaving Tyr with only one hand remaining. And thus the other gods take Fenrir, who is chained, to Earth. They bind him to Earth with the chain, and they put a sword in his mouth, between his upper jaw and lower, so that he can never close his jaws. And eventually his drool creates the lakes. Now, we don't officially see Fenrir in the actual trailer, but we do get to see Fenrir's children. Hayete and Skoll, I think that's how you say their names. Hayete and Skoll are the two children of Fenrir, two wolves. Hayete hates everything, pretty much, and is said to chase the moon or the sun. It's very complicated and it's not very translated well. And there's also Skoll, the one who mocks, who chases the sun again, or moon again. It's not translated very well to fully understand in some instances. But Hayate hates everything, Skoll mocks everything. Now, we do officially see them in one of the trailers. Yeah. And I do know which positions they are in. In the trailer, we see them only for a few seconds, but we're able to see them. We see the big wolf in front, and again the other big wolf behind. And I know for a fact that the one in front is Skoll, and the one behind is Hate, or Hate, however you say it. From now on, I'm just gonna call him Hate, just so it's easier for me. So, in the trailer, we actually get to hear Skoll mocking Kratos, like he does, and we can actually hear a growl behind him, which is Hate. Again, I know it's Hayate or however you say it, but I'm just calling him Hate just because it's easier for me. So we hear them, and these are the children of Fenrir. And if we are seeing these two already, we're probably going to see Fenrir. I will play the clip right now. So yes, that was the clip. You could clearly hear Skoll mocking Kratos, and you could hear Hate growling in the background. I think Skoll is closer to Kratos to keep Hate from attacking him, because again, Hate hates everything. Now, their story is that they are chasing the sun and moon gods, trying to devour them, and it's not until Ragnarok that they finally catch them and eat them. That's the big thing here again, Ragnarok. I think the World Serpent and Hate and Skoll are going to get Kratos to help them survive and cause Ragnarok. And possibly Fenrir as well, as Fenrir wants vengeance on Odin and the other gods for what they did to him. As in Ragnarok, Fenrir grows so large that he finally does break that unbreakable chain. He attacks, and he eats and kills Odin. However, Fenrir's story gets bad after that, as after that, Odin's other son, Vidar, comes in, who is the god of vengeance, comes into play, and he puts a special boot on that he made special for this occasion, as he read the prophecies, as most of the gods already knew. He puts it on Fenrir's lower jaw, he grabs his upper jaw, and he rips it open, killing Fenrir, avenging his father. Then I believe, I could be a bit wrong here, but I believe he becomes the new king or throne taker, practically making him the new Odin, as he is also the second strongest god after Thor, and after this point Thor's dead, so now he is the strongest god. He is also the silent god, as he was mentioned beforehand, and lives in a very quiet place. So, if the Midgard Serpent is going to help Kratos, remember, Kratos' journey is for him and his son, Atreus, to take Kratos' wife and Atreus' mother's ashes to the top of the realms to spread them. They have no intent of killing the gods, and Kratos even mentions to Atreus that there are consequences to killing a god, so Kratos knows not to do it. But I feel like these beasts are going to help Kratos on his journey, but the gods are going to interfere so much and put Kratos' son at so much risk, or have some overall theme that makes Atreus go berserk, which makes Kratos go berserk, that they end up killing the gods anyway. Whew. So, I do believe that the World Serpent, Hate and Skoll, and Fenrir are going to try to use Kratos for their personal gain. And after all of that, I believe Loki will try to join in with Kratos as well. And in Loki's story, he gets tortured for pretty much eternity, where he gets tied up, has a snake dripped over his head that constantly drips poison on his head for eternity until Ragnarok. But if he can get Kratos to help start Ragnarok now and kill all the gods, Loki doesn't have to go through all that torture. He might not even have to do that bloody fight he's in. So Loki, his children, and his technical grandchildren with Hate and Skoll can all survive. Whew. As also for Hate eventually fights Tyr, I believe. I could be very wrong in this, but I heard this. That he fights Tyr and they both kill each other. This could prevent Hate from dying. So I believe these beasts of Nordic folklore are trying to help Kratos on his journey because they know. As said by the woman in the trailers, they do not take kindly to outsiders like yourself talking to Kratos. So the gods already don't like Kratos. So they're going to keep getting in his way, keep causing problems, and keep trying to kill him. And Kratos, in self-defense, will have to kill the gods, making things a lot easier on the beasts. The World Serpent might not even ever have to fight Thor. He might just let Kratos take care of it for him and let the World Serpent just do his own thing. Same with Hate and Skoll. If Kratos is able to catch and stop the Sun and Moon gods, then Hate and Skoll can easily catch them at that point, kill them, and plunge the world into darkness like they do in Ragnarok. And if he's able to, say, weaken Odin and free Fenrir, and maybe kill Vidar beforehand, Fenrir will be able to kill Odin, and nothing will be able to kill him at that point. Fenrir can get his full revenge, and the rest of the monsters can just pretty much just finish off what other gods Kratos hasn't slain. Now this won't all happen in the first game, as it's said to be a trilogy. But I feel like this first game is setting it up that Kratos is getting used. The beasts are using him to alter Ragnarok in their favor. Fenrir's not doing this yet, but I feel as if the World Serpent is going to kickstart this. So, if Kratos and Atreus are being used, then they will bring an end and alter Ragnarok to a point where it changes drastically from the actual mythology. So, my theory, yes, is that Kratos and his son are going to be used by the beasts and the son of Loki. And for an easier explanation, to pretty much sum it up, it's like this. If you know the prophecy of an event that's going to happen, and you and your whole family's pretty much gonna die, but if you get this other guy and his son to kill the gods who are gonna kill you, who you already hate, and they kill him and you don't have to do nothing, what's stopping you from just doing that? And they don't really have to do anything, they just gotta let Kratos go on in his journey and the gods will get in his way and they'll kill him. He'll basically be doing what they want without them having to try anything. All they gotta do is just help him along his way to get to the top of the realms with his son. Anyway, that was my theory. What do you think? Comment what you think, and if you disagree, tell me why. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the theory.